say welcome and welcome back to the Sneak Peek podcast. If you are just absorbing this in your ear week by week, or to week 2, summer camp in the club. What's up? Welcome, my darlings. Welcome back. This is the recap call where we give you a nice little taste, smattering, if you will, whatever that word is. I like it, of the whole week of what we've been up to. This week, we have been talking about freaking out, which is phase 2 of the cycle of creation here in the club as us creative, but messy, brilliant, but messy. We got an Adana coming in the house. We tend to start by figuring things out, and we always want to go to the how, but we now know that we need to go to the why and the who first. I love it when Adana makes a call, and we are on phase 2 today, which is after we figure out what our goal is, what we're going to do. As soon as we commit it to paper, as soon as we say it out loud, even in our own heads, the next thing that usually happens is we freak the out. Why? Isn't freaking out bad enough? Why do we need to actually even talk about it here in the club? That part. Because there is a way to harness freak out for good and not use it against you, not evil. And if you're not already doing it already, you might be losing a lot of your precious life force, your life energy to the freak out phase. But to talk about freaking out in a way that allows us to reclaim our thoughts and our emotions so we can direct them to serving us rather than pulling us down means we have to understand out where freak out comes from. So let's talk about that 4-letter F word, fear, for a moment. Let's talk about it head on, straight up. Let's shine our little flashlights right into the darkest corner of our psyches and see what is happening. Because fear is one of those funny evolutionary things that has kept us alive, my darlings. So we want it. It's not going anywhere. And that's the good news. It can become your trusted companion instead of the nemesis you avoid. Fear obviously warns us of danger, helps us anticipate danger, and respond sometimes to danger in good ways and in panicked ways. But we're at the point in most of our lives where there are very few things that are actually dangerous to our survival. Now, I know that we are working on really big things in our health, in our wellness. I know that there are things, but if you're here and you're alive, then it didn't kill you. That's all I'm saying, is it didn't threaten your survival, or you figured out how to make it through. I'm also going to the next layer. When we're afraid to write that book, to sign up for that talk, to contact that person, when we're afraid of trying something new and looking like an idiot. In fact, while I was doing this week, I went ahead and posted something. I was working with a client who really wants to play the clarinet. And we are very bad at the clarinet right now because that's what beginning things are. And clarinets, you squeak and squawk. But I posted something on the socials with Chris, my husband, playing awesome jazz piano and us squeaking and squawking. And I was talking about being able to feel fear, feel emotions, and how you are free. And one of even my good friends left a comment saying, all these heart and star emojis for the piano playing, but sorry, can't leave any emojis for the clarinets. And I thought that's exactly a good point of I had to be willing to feel what someone might comment, what someone might observe that's less than amazing. And that allowed me to be free to squeak and squawk on the internet in my happy place with a clarinet. It's okay to look like an idiot when you can process fear and process your emotions. It's okay to not make enough money. It's okay to go on 100 or 1,000 dates and still not meet the right person. It's okay to get the part-time job. Those are not threats to your survival. And yet we get afraid of them. And so fear prevents us from taking action. So let's define fear. Fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain, or a threat. I like that because not many definitions point to something as big as fear, like an emotion, being an unpleasant sensation caused by a belief. Y'all, if you've been here for a minute, you know how to experience and process unpleasant emotions. We go into it, I'll go into it in a minute. Again, We know how to look at and decide and change our beliefs by putting them on a new repeat, writing them out first. Yes, we're afraid of pain. So we can trust that fear is going to show up and instinctively protect us, even if we get to work on the thoughts and beliefs that we're not actually in danger. It's still going to be there. But the only time fear serves us is in dangerous situations. And since most of us are not in life-threatening situations all that often, the fear we're feeling on a daily basis does not serve us. Let me say that again. The only time fear serves you is when you are in an actual dangerous situation. In non-dangerous situations, fear is going to lead to this panic, urgency sort of feeling, another word for freaking out, because fear causes a chemical hormonal response in our body that compels us to take action. We heard from Shima this week on exactly her fingertips were becoming numb. Her hair was falling out. And when she finally felt these sensations, they had to scream at her. She started to take action. She started to get real calm. Fear kicked in. So when you're feeling fear about situations that aren't life-threatening, you will be compelled to take these actions that can actually get you, or they can't get you away from danger because there is no danger. So you spin and you start freaking out about your business, about what your partner said, about a tone of voice that someone used, about someone being mad at you, someone saying no, lack of engagement, lack of yeses. I still have some people to get back to that I'm delinquent on. If they're taking it the wrong way, we're all in trouble. We try to use adrenaline then to run away, to get away from the fear, get away from the danger. But there is no lion, there is no bear, there is no hot lava. So it's actually something we've decided, like a goal or a dream, when it's actually something you want to move toward. Fear is less useful as fuel in those situations. Sometimes it can be as simple as you saying to your brain, I hear you, brain. Thank you for freaking out for a moment. I hear you, but this one I'm not actually going to die on. Or this is not a life or death situation that I need protection from right now. This is discomfort, and I'm willing to feel discomfort. When we're afraid to feel discomfort, we avoid anything that brings up discomfort. But here's the rub. Everything that makes us grow and expand and level up and build our businesses and our lives, by the nature of leveling up and being new and different, new stuff brings unpleasant discomfort. New stuff brings emotions and not knowing. So if your fear response is hypervigilant, like mine, due to past wounds, past trauma, drama, sensitivities that are not a negative thing. But if you're hypervigilant and your fear response and your immune response and everything is like ready to go, things you're protecting, you'll have a really hard time every time you're trying to grow into something new. So today, let's just sit with and be really honest that when we say I'm freaking out, or any of the culturally social normal things we say that our friends and our besties go like, oh, me too. What we're really saying is, I'm afraid to feel the discomfort that is here for me to feel. And I still say it. So I'm not exempt from this. I still say I'm freaking out and I want to get away from it. Because in those moments, we're additionally scared of things like, what if we always feel this way forever? Or what if this leads to something worse? Or we make it mean something about who we are or who we love, or that we'll never be able to escape this feeling. So take a deep breath, because the best news is, and I want you to hear this with an open mind, yes, fear is protecting you from discomfort, and fear is also the exact place where you can access courage. You cannot build your muscles without exposing them to lifting heavy things, right? And feeling some burn, feeling some discomfort, going out and taking a new class or something. If you want to develop courage and more skills around having courage, you're going to have to expose yourself to some things that bring up fear and discomfort, which is kind of easy because when we're starting a new goal, everything is scary and uncomfortable. So that's our biggest point to start actually expanding. Emotions are scary and uncomfortable sometimes. So look at a goal that you have right now, especially if you've chosen one for our duration of summer camp, and allow fear to be there and allow fear to show you what it's saying and what it's protecting. What uncomfortable emotions are in there? And we can work with that awareness, because building your courage as you work with looking directly at what you're afraid of, courage, working on courage on repeat, and just picking up the thing that you're scared of on purpose, that's what leads you to new capabilities, having new skills. That's the very thing you set the goal for. It's because you want to be able to be the person who can do that. Then you're going to start wanting to go out there and get some fear moving so that you can build the courage, because that leads you to being more capable. And when you feel capable, my darlings, when you start being like, I did that, then you have true lasting self-confidence, because you see that you're generating it, not someone telling you you get an A. When you're just stopped with fear and you don't move at all and you don't get to access courage, then you hide, then we shake in our boots. But exposing yourself to fear and turning in the direction of it and asking it to tell you exactly what it's afraid of and accepting as part of the deal of goals and dreams, that's where you access your courage and start building confidence. Growing more is always going to be unknown. It's always going to bring up discomfort. So if you don't want to live life on repeat, which you can sometimes say, you know what, today I'm living on repeat. I got to chill out my nervous system. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm talking about the times that I know I see you want something, you want to grow. Have you ever heard that phrase, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional? Some of our members this week were like, yes, I've heard it, I get it. Some were like, what? What does that even mean? Pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. Let's unpack that for a second. If you have things that you want to do, new things, new goals, new dreams that you want to work towards, businesses you want to build, projects you want to bring online, and you don't know how to do the things yet because you haven't done it yet, it's a brand new goal, you can count on being uncomfortable. Unknown brings up discomfort because that's how humans are designed, to fear things that are new and different. So fear protects us. And it can be as simple as hearing your mind say, I don't really feel like making those calls. I don't really want to call that person. And that doesn't seem like fear. It seems like I don't feel like it. Or it might be as loud as absolutely not. I'd rather quit. I don't even want the goal anymore. I'm going back to life as usual. Then it's a little more obvious. But usually when we quit, there's a part of us that doesn't actually want to quit because it knows there wasn't really real fear or a real danger that we had to run away from. We have a good chance of succeeding in our goals. We really do. That's why we pick them up. We go, I think I could do that. I think I could see that. So we want to step towards fear. We want to step towards danger and discomfort, even though, and especially because we know it's not life-threatening. So if we quit, then we're going to eventually start all over again. We're going to find a new dream, or we're going to pick the dream back up, and the cycle will repeat if we don't know how to break the freaking out energy. Because growing more always brings us to the unknown, and we experience fear when we are faced with the unknown. Have I hammered it enough? I think I have. We cannot evolve into something new without discomfort. This is how we stay alive, but it's also how we grow. So let's see, what else do we talk about? Here's one of the best medicines that I can remind you of when you're considering going from shaking in your boots to actually moving into action or picking up courage. One of the best medicines I can remind you of is compassion. I know if you're attracted to me, if you're attracted to this work, that's not something I have to explain. You are compassionate towards everyone in your life. We need compassion for our fear, for our pain, for our discomfort. Otherwise, the fear of that discomfort, the fear of the pain, will always stop us. unless we start developing the skill, the very learnable skill of having compassion for ourselves so that we can pick up courage to overcome discomfort. Acknowledging yourself, just like you would a friend, like, oh, I see you. Oh, I hear you. Embracing the sensations, naming them in your body, becoming a friend to yourself. When you treat yourself as a beloved friend, just like you would go out with a friend who is in fear and say, tell me everything. And you treat yourself with, what is in there? Let's hear it all. And don't try to avoid it. You know that acknowledging and embracing it as part of the deal, as having compassion for yourself, is part of the plan. Instead of, oh, why is this happening to me? Or, oh, what's wrong with me? Why do I keep doing this? Even if it's the 10,000th time this freak out, panic is happening, you say, I hear you. Let's go 10,001. And then deciding to practice your skills that you're building of courage and looking, holding hands and moving with your fear, that's being your own friend. You allow yourself to be afraid. You allow yourself to feel like crud. You feel like you're not enough or that you're just enough. But you never make it actually mean there's something wrong with you. Y'all, the fear of discomfort and emotional pain, the fear of discomfort is what causes additional suffering. And there's a huge difference between just feeling the pain and having compassion for your pain and pushing against that pain. When you allow those negative emotions, when you are willing to feel a negative feeling, it becomes a positive experience. Can I get an amen, especially from my musicians? When you're willing to look at something that is negative, you step to your power and it becomes a positive, empowered experience. When you're willing to do the thing, when you give yourself the opportunity to feel strong and purposeful around it, if you get nothing else from today, get this. Moving toward pain releases suffering. Turning in the direction, acknowledging your pain, releases suffering. Of course, plan on that initial instinctive retraction from pain. Yes, we're human, but once you've seen the retraction, once you've seen it, then you can soften and open yourself and move toward it. Is it still unpleasant? Yes. But you get to release additional resistance, the suffering, all the fight against it. It's like holding a ball called pain and trying to keep it underwater. You're having to work at not letting it be. And when you let it go, I want you to feel the moment of letting a ball go and it just float there. You are free. It's not that the ball goes away. The pain is still there. But resisting it's like trying to shove it underwater and struggle against it. So at the end of my day, or at the end of the day, darlings, whether you use your pain and your hardships and your challenges to wake yourself up and strengthen you, or you use them to stay shaking and unconscious and put yourself back to sleep, those are kind of the two options. You become more willing and aware, or you become more resistant and unconscious. And in those situations, fear of fear leads to the panic and the overwhelm. Learning how to relax. We have a lot of people in here that can help you relax. That is what they're put on the planet to do. Learning how to relax into fear is a learnable skill. Learning how to embrace fear is a learnable skill. Learning how to move toward fear is a learnable skill. And in fact, might be safer in the long run than avoiding it and seeking refuge outside of yourself. You don't have to trade the discomfort of fear for the immediate relief of something that will make you distract from it. Fear will always be there for you to protect you when you need it. You can count on it. You can trust it. And you can count on that fear is harmless when you don't need the protection. When you embrace it and become your own friend, you can sit with fear and ask it what its concerns are. You can write them all down and then ask, what else? What else? What else? We're going to go into that in just a second. Until fear has told you everything, just like a friend would tell you everything. And you know what? Every single thing on that list, every single thing that fear lists for you and writes as your obstacles and your not enoughs, those become your exact steps. You don't have to pay someone online for their exact steps. Fear will tell you what the things are that you need to face and look at and make plans for step by step. That is your how. That will lead you not only to your goal, but to becoming the person you want to be, which is what gave birth to the goal in the first place, is you thinking you will feel and become something from going for that goal. Okay, so everyone freaks out at some time or another. Even me, even the people that you are hold up in highest esteem. So it's normal. It's not fun for anybody. Nobody has taught us usually how to freak out in a way that's not going to re-traumatize us or re-trigger our trauma. So even though we can tool around in space and we can transplant kidneys and hearts and brains, that means we also can freak out productively. Because we now know that freaking out is going to come right before you find your center. Freaking out is the rite of passage, the access point to that peaceful place of personal power when you turn in the direction of it. You access your cool as a cucumber creative zone when you have been with your fear. The God zone, whatever you like to call it. What if you started to know that and listen to it and trust the freaking out to show you the exact roadmap to the very goal you're freaking out about? Now, last week we talked about choosing goals and how to go with the why you're choosing the goal and who you'll become first before you jump to let me figure out the plan. Because you see that trusting that the freak out phase will happen and the fear will come up is going to give you so much information. And that information is going to sustain you, especially when it gets hard and you start racking up the failures and self-doubt creeps in. Your why and who you're becoming sustains you. Freak out still happens. In fact, like I said, as soon as you actually commit to a goal or tell people you're gonna start doing something, then it becomes tangible in the real world. As soon as you do it, your brain is gonna offer you all the reasons you can't do it first, why you're not enough yet, why you need help, why you need to sign up for another course. And as we learned from you all coming to the club this week, your brain in the freak out moments might even say, you're going to harm others. Stop what you're doing. If you think I'm not going to harm myself, I'm not in life-threatening danger, you might have to get through the phase where your brain says, well, you're going to hurt someone else. Like I said, all the obstacles will be more obvious at first than their solutions. Count on that. And often that's when us brilliant and messy creatives want to jump to outsourcing the how, because it gives us that immediate relief from the discomfort of freaking out. And yes, action can alleviate anxiety, and we can absolutely use action, but not necessarily if that action is to buy some outsourcing, eat something, drink something. So we did also a little healing Band-Aid training on how to freak out this week so that you can move through that phase, especially before we start to learn exactly how to self-coach when you don't have a coach right there. So I want to give this to you to think about freaking out and coaching yourself and move through things before we actually do some training on it. As soon as you hear yourself saying, I'm freaking out, or whatever version you say, know that in that moment, you have just become aware of your opportunity to turn in the direction of pain. As soon as you say, I'm freaking out, you can keep freaking out, or you can say, I see you, pain. What do you want me to hear? Instead of avoiding it and making it bigger by adding more freaking out energy, listen to the thoughts and the feelings, not believing them, listening to them. And you can say even, sometimes I have to say, I hear you. I'm just processing pain right now. This is not the true thought, but I'm processing this. If you need to say, I'm just processing right now, to yourself, that works. If you feel yourself have a desire to get up and get a snack, you can say, that's not what I'm doing right now, or that's not going to help me process right now. I'll do that in a minute. Or that's not worth this healing opportunity right now. I'm here for this. And when you think you've asked pain all of what it has to tell you, ask her what else. And write down what you hear. This is how to be your own friend. This is how to come into self-awareness and bring it to then your coach or bring it to the next phase. Because when you step toward pain, writing her down, writing everything she says down, you relieve the suffering of avoiding it and resisting it and denying it. And as you listen to her, the more thoughts are going to come out. Your real beliefs about a situation will get clearer and clearer. Let them. It may take a couple hours or a couple days or a couple weeks or a couple years later, you still might hear a thought come back. Let it take as long as it takes while you notice. I told a story of dealing with a big financial situation this week that I heard some old thoughts come up and I went, oh, I thought that I had healed that many times. So let me ask you, fear, what is it you're trying to say? Some thoughts will even seem innocent, but they still might activate you and feel painful. Thoughts like, I've just been doing this for so long, or I deserve better. Check the vibrations as you come up with each thought. That is why it's important to go slow and write them down so that you don't believe them, you understand them. And don't try to change them. Don't try to coach it first and try to up-level the thought at first, especially when there's lots coming at you. Just get them out onto the paper and notice what feelings are being generated in your body. Here's a couple more examples of what I mean of thoughts that might appear. I don't like them anyways. I don't like her anyways. I didn't want to try anyways. I didn't want to do the thing anyways. They're doing that to me on purpose. They should have known. That was mean what they did. I've been mistreated. I was going to quit anyway. They shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't behave that way. That was fucked up. That was wrong. These are things that you can check. What are these thoughts protecting you from? I know this is going to suck. I know this is going to go badly. I know they're lying to me. Why does this always happen to me? Am I always going to be this way? I just want to be happy. I hate feeling this way. I hope so-and-so falls off a cliff. It's okay. Don't judge anything. Just hear all of them and see how they're affecting you. Yes, this can be overwhelming. Allow yourself then to say, okay, overwhelm. What am I feeling? What is that feeling? Y'all did some amazing work with each other this week of allowing and staying functioning while you're observing. So now I want to offer you some healing balm thoughts, BALM, not BOMB, healing balm, to write down or just emblazon in your brain for when it's hard to stay present and the overwhelm seems like it's just happening to you. You might adopt this belief. Whatever it is that you're experiencing, this is happening for me, not against me. This is an opportunity to turn toward my highest good. I must be ready to process this. Nothing has gone wrong here. I'm just finally able to look. This pain is here because I'm able to see it now. I have so much to learn by staying open to this. Other people can believe what they want to believe. Other people can be who they are. I'm going to stay with me. Those are some thoughts that can help. And if the statements don't work, you can always use questions like, how can I use this for me right now? How can I make this perfect for me right now? What can I do that comes from peace and is for me? How can I not try to fix or change anything and just be with this? How can I accept this with grace? Once you can process a thought without reacting to it emotionally, then you can own it. You can say to yourself, I am responsible for this thought. I am responsible for repeating this pain, generating this painful thought. I can meet myself now intimately and be with this. I have so much to learn and I'm here for it. I can forgive myself for my part in this. If I created pain with my mind, I can also create relief. That's owning, taking responsibility, being your own friend. Then I invite you to let the thought go. Once you've owned it and seen this is mine, I can do it or not do it or undo it. let it go, and then repeat the whole process as many times as you need to. If you're bringing a thought to a coach and you just need to brain dump, no, I haven't gone through the dumping phase yet and the downloading of all the thoughts phase. But you better believe your coach is going to be looking for what are the stickiest ones? Where's the emotion really the strongest? So if you do that first, you can bring it and say, this one, I need help on this one. Also, be ready to present your story of why you're saying the thoughts, why you're having this pain, whatever the story is, not to fortify the story as this is what the facts are, not to convince anyone of how real the problem is, but to step into that neutral, observing voice that will really do wonders for your evolution just by saying, here's what stories I'm making up. Here's what stories I'm telling myself. Here's what's repeating in the brain right now. Being ready to talk about what solutions you've tried in a way that here's what has worked, here's what hasn't, and here's what I'm seeing, why that didn't work, rather than nothing works, let me just bat it out of the park, any possibility. It is hard work, my friends, especially during the freakout. But staying committed to your freedom more than you're committed to your limitations, even though it will always be 1,000 times easier to fight for the proof and the evidence of the limitations. Now we're going to keep moving towards how to do this on your own, in your own head, in a few weeks. But for now, that's a little bridge. So that phase 1 was figuring it out. Phase 2, freak out and trust the energy of freak out. Listen to it. And with that, let's have a pause and let's coach and hear what's coming up through your wisdom.